What's up, dispatchers? The most anticipated video of the decade, my survival watch. Do you want premium ad-free content? Duh. Content that's not censored by big tech, of course. Well, with SD Insider, you can get behind the scenes and a whole lot more. Link in the description. I'm only doing the video because there has literally been hundreds of requests, and I'm kind of tired of explaining what's on my watch. Now, before we deep dive into this, no, you cannot buy it. I made this for myself like well over a decade ago. Why? Because I simply couldn't find anything out there that I liked. There's not a week that goes by where somebody doesn't ask me if they can buy it or where they can get one. I'm sorry, if you want one, you gotta make it. This watch has been with me on every single mission that I ever went on. It's been with me every class that I've ever taught. And I really don't think there's anything out here that's quite as unique as this one. So let's talk about, well, why did you make it in the first place? I truly wanted something that was simple to carry. At the time, there wasn't anything like it in the industry, and I just didn't want to have a bunch of like stuff on my keychain, so I didn't ruin the lock cylinder on my vehicle. And something that survivalists do all the time is combine items in their pack, like combining your Gorilla Tape with your lighter, for example. It just makes it easier to keep up with stuff. Now, I will say I did not put a bunch of junk on this. Everything that's on the watch is high quality stuff, and I'm gonna go over every component individually. If you've watched any of my videos in the past, you know that I don't buy junk. I've gotta have stuff that I can depend on should I need it. So without further ado, let's just jump in. And let's start with the timepiece itself. It's actually a Luminox 3900 series. Always wanted a Luminox my whole life. It's very simple. It has a chronograph on it. And as a first responder, I needed something that I could monitor vitals with. And also, if my compass should break, I could also utilize it to navigate. I absolutely love my Luminox, and it served me very well, and I've only had to change the battery one time in its entire life, and that's about 14 years. It's rugged, dependable, and durable, and simple, and that's all I need. And then before we dive into it, I'm just going to give you a good look at the watch all the way around before we start taking all of the individual components off of it, just so you can see what it looks like when it's all together. You notice here is the clasp, very simple, and it even has a whistle on it. Another thing about the band is the paracord. People ask, if you take the paracord off of the watch band, can you still use the watch? Yeah, you absolutely can. As you can see, the paracord is just wrapped over the band right here, leading up to the other side. If you take the paracord off, you can still utilize the band. The band is also adjustable. If you'll notice right here, I can take this loose right here, and the band actually acts like a NATO band. So if I want to wear this over my coat in the winter, like if I've got to monitor vitals, etc., and I want to see my watch, I can adjust the band so that it goes over my coat. And I also want to point out that everything that is around the compass is actually aluminum, so that I can still utilize the compass when it's on my wrist. Everything was placed on the band for a very specific reason, just like this streamlight that I've got right here. If I'm actually wearing the watch, you'll notice that the flashlight is right here. And the reason is because if I'm working on something in my hands right here, I want to be able to see what I'm doing in the dark. So yes, I put a lot of thought into it before I actually made it, because I wanted it to be tactically efficient and I wanted it to be functional. Now, the thing that I get asked about the most on it is, what is that brass thing right there? And the answer is really simple. It's just a peanut style Zippo lighter. You'll notice when I take the cap off of it, there's your striker and there's your fire. I chose to go with a Zippo style because of course it's going to run out of fluid, but you don't necessarily have to use only lighter fluid. There's other white fluids that you can use in the place of lighter fluid. And I just thought from a survival standpoint, that just makes sense. The next component on the watch that I get asked about is the knife itself. And this is nothing more than a Spyderco. I believe it's actually the Honeybee model, I think. They make a bug. It was a little bit too small, and the grasshopper was just a little bit too big. This is almost a 2-inch blade, and as you can see, I can get both of my fingers on there. The next question is, well, what do you actually use it for? Well, from a survival standpoint, I have gutted fish, squirrels, rabbits, you know, small game. But I mean, the majority of the time, realistically, I use it for opening boxes. Sometimes I even use it as a toothpick. You know, just simple stuff. And it's just really nice to have one handy when you need it. And like I said, I wanted to have, you know, a quality blade on there. And if you want a quality blade, you can definitely go with Spyderco. And now that the knife is out of the way, we can get to what's underneath the blade itself. And you'll notice right here is a military grade safety pin. Safety pins are useful for a number of things. It just slides right into the can opener. And this thing has actually served me well over the years, especially if I'm, you know, taping somebody up, they broke a radius ulna or something, or they've got a sprain or whatever. It helps out with the ace bandage. Make fish hooks out of these things. It's just a really handy item to have around. And so, yeah, having a safety pin just made sense. So there's the next thing. A lot of people ask me, well, why do you have a can opener? You'd be surprised. A lot of the events that I go to, people actually bring cans and forget their can opener. And it's kind of nice to be able to allow them to use this to show them how it works. And also, I use it as the scraper for my ferro rod. And then tucked away, this is probably one of the more interesting aspects of the watch, is my survival tin. Once I open it up, you'll notice that I've got a fire plug by Wazoo. I've also got the Wazoo toolkit, which has a magnetized needle. It has sinkers, it has fish hooks, it has safety pins. I really just can't find a kit out on the market that's better than that. So you'll also notice that I have stuff to support the lighter. There's another wick. And then at the bottom of the tin, you'll notice there's another flint as well. Now, some other uses for survival tins. Yes, you could make char with it, but mainly I use it just to store stuff for the watch. And if I needed to transport fire, like with some fungus, like I lit an ember, I could transport it in this stainless steel container. So that's everything out of the center. Now we can start moving down. And right here is a ferro rod. I mean, why wouldn't you carry a ferro rod? Fire redundancy, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. The next thing that everybody wants to know about is, what is this little capsule right here? And this right here is a cash stash. It simply holds money for you. I used to carry a $100 bill, but nowadays it's getting harder and harder to be able to get change for a bone. So now I'm actually carrying a 50 in there. It's real easy to use. It's nice to have extra cash on you. It fits right in there. It keeps it nice and waterproof. Alternatively, you could also use this capsule to house things like water purification tablets or Benadryl, any kind of essential medicine that you might possibly need. In my case, I like to have extra money on me. Like, for example, let's say I was off somewhere and the registers went down because the internet went out or lack of power or whatever. It's always a good idea to have money on you. And I have been to places like in Colorado where the credit card machine went down and all they were accepting was cash. And $50 is a pretty good amount of gas. It won't fill up my gas tank, but $50 is enough gas to get you to the next place. The next thing is the flashlight itself, and this is actually a nano streamlight. It's very simple design. I just like it. It's a streamlight. I've never had any problems with streamlight whatsoever in the past, and so I continue to use streamlight products because they work. Moving on down the line, I have a Suunto compass. When I was in search and rescue, I had an MC2 Global Suunto that I still use to teach with. It's a great all-around compass to carry. And Suunto is a brand that you can trust, so that's why I got a Suunto compass. Being that I was in search and rescue, having a dependable compass was a must. Now this little container here on the side, I'm just not going to take it out. Number one, because it's kind of hard to get it out, and I sewed that loop right there just a little bit too tight, and so I actually hate taking it apart. But the top will unscrew, and inside of there, that's where I used to keep my iodine tablets for water. Of course, now I have the Katadyn tablets that I've got with Wazoo, and so it kind of it was a no-brainer for me to just switch over and start using those because the water tastes so much better. But once again, it's just a pill fob, and you could put whatever in there that you wanted to. And like I said, the watch band is adjustable. And so you'll notice that when I fish this out of here, that I have this much additional adjustment in the watch band itself. So if I want to wear it, you know, over my coat in the wintertime, I can do that. And that was just something that I planned from the beginning because I really like NATO bands. I just think they're cool. Now this part of the band, I'm definitely not going to take off, simply because when I first got the watch assembled, I used to take this off so that I could show people that yes, you could still use the band and use the paracord. But to be honest, like, I'm sick and tired of weaving a double cobra onto my watch band. It's more of a novelty thing. It's just kind of cool, and it's so much easier to just keep some cordage in your pocket. Don't think I showed y'all the whistle on the clasp. Everybody needs an emergency whistle. Sometimes when I'm going down the road, if I'm riding in the Jeep or I'm riding a motorcycle or a bike or something and the wind picks up real good, sometimes you'll get a faint whistle out of this thing, and well, that's pretty funny if you ask me. And so there's everything in the watch laid out, but I noticed now I'm missing something. And it's actually a pretty important item. It's the fishing cord. I normally have high-test fishing line on it. Sometimes it's nice to not have to search for it. Now, the last time that I went fishing with it, I actually decided, you know what, this cord's getting pretty old and I probably need to replace it. And guess what? I got home and got distracted. I really enjoy fishing with my watch, actually. It's kind of nice when I go to a bank and somebody's fishing with their rods or their reels or whatever, and I just utilize my watch and I'm catching just as many fish as they are. Everywhere I go, I can always find fishing line at a fishing spot. Even when I was deep in 1.4 million acres of swampland down in Louisiana, I still found fishing line everywhere. So I wouldn't really consider it a necessity. It's more of a luxury, and 15 feet isn't a whole lot, but it definitely gets the job done. So now I guess we got to put it back together. The compass slides right in here and then it locks in place. And then the flashlight just slides into this pocket right here. I typically will screw it off, and then if I want to press it, I can turn it on, kind of like a momentary switch. Next up is the cash stash, and it just slides into that little pocket right there. And you'll notice that I have this little lobster claw that goes right there. And I just go ahead and attach it to this NATO ring right here, just so that I don't lose the cash. I just take it, clip it on there, and then slide it into the middle, and it's secured. Then I can take the brass Zippo lighter, it slides into this little slot right here. Then I can take this stainless steel container, slide the top back on it, and it just slides underneath here, just like that. Now I can take the safety pin, undo it. It slides right into this little slot here on the can opener. And then it just slides in on top, just like that. And then the lock, if you will, is the knife itself, and I made a custom little sheath for it right there. Everything gets locked into place so it doesn't come out. And to put it on, all you do is you hit this little clasp. Boom. Watch is ready to go. Now the next question that people have is, you know, is it heavy? Definitely not heavy to me, but you know, hey, I've been wearing it for well over a decade. It's not just the kind of thing that I wear just to show off or whatever. I actually use the components on the watch itself. However, one thing that really sucks about it is I can't fly with it because of the blade. It's like highly irritating to me. However, there is a solution for that. When I made this watch, this was actually pre-Wazoo. So Wazoo came on the scene and they pretty much blew this kit out of the water. Now the only thing that Wazoo doesn't offer is the watch itself, and then I don't think they have a can opener. No, they don't. In reality, everything that's on the watch can be replaced with, say, the Wazoo 23-piece adventure kit. I can fly with all 23 pieces in this kit. Number two, all the components fit into my cash belt and into my cash cap, and nobody even knows that I have this stuff. I mean, seriously, I can't go a single week without going into a store and somebody actually noticing it. And when it comes to gray man, that's not a good thing at all. Matter of fact, it makes you a target. If I'm not wearing it now, it just doesn't feel right. Like, this is my watch that I made and I love the thing, and so I'm gonna continue to wear it. I appreciate y'all watching this video. Like I said, if you want to see an adventure film with the watch, then I'm sure that I can incorporate it into future videos because I've had so many requests for it. And until next time, fuel the fires. Become a Survival Dispatch Insider. We bring together survival enthusiasts and preppers to share knowledge and skills, which means you can enhance your preparedness for emergencies and ensure the safety of your community. The results you'll get: improve your emergency preparedness by learning skills and strategies from experienced preppers. Build lasting connections with like-minded individuals to share your passion for safety and readiness. Access a wealth of knowledge and resources to assist you in protecting you and your community in certain situations. Go to survivaldispatch.com to get started.